Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on our Project Redfire. We got this pretty cool 03 Cobra. If you've been following along, we've been working out some issues on this car. It's had its share of cooling issues, mostly with the blower and the intake. A whole bunch of stuff going along. We've been doing a little series on this car, getting it prepped, and it's finally at the stage where we can start having some fun with it. So I think today we're going to take it down to the track and kind of get a baseline on it. Now it still has a lot of things it needs taken care of for sure. The engine cooling system and a few other things for sustained driving. I'm sure the suspension needs a lot of work, but we really need a baseline just to kind of see where it's at and go from there. So we're gonna head down to Bradenton today and go, make some hits in it and see what it does. I have a feeling this car's blowing through the converter, which is another reason I want to go take it down there and check it out. Can't really tell on the street. It's just too much power. It doesn't hook, and you get mixed results with the tires spinning and you kind of rolling into it, and of course the RPMs come up. But it does feel like it's blowing through the converter to me. I really need to get it to hook on a track and really wail on it under load and figure that out. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna data log it, see what it's doing, and get this thing fueled up. I'm gonna get it loaded up on the trailer, and we're gonna head down there. So yeah, let's get going. So as I'm loading up here, getting ready to go to the track, it's occurring to me, I haven't actually been to a track in well over a decade. So I don't have the right approved helmet, I don't have a fire suit anymore, I don't really have anything. So this should be interesting. It's a private test and tune tonight, which is kind of nice, so they're a little bit more relaxed and can usually skate by. I'll see what I can get away with on there, but we're definitely gonna have to step up our gear and game if we're gonna start taking this down to the track. But it should be interesting for a first time, kind of see what tech allows, doesn't allow. It's been a while since I've done this, so let's see what happens. Oh my God! Oh, that was man, that just dead hooked. I just punched it from an idle from the stop, but wow, dang, that was fun. Oh, 10.3 at 130. Wow, not bad for right off the trailer. Only 12 degrees timing in the tune as well. 1.760 foot. I was afraid it was just going to blow the tires off. I'm going to go up there and hammer it down this time at the line and see if it pulls a little harder. Whew, 10.3, 130. Not too shabby. I felt like we got a harder start off the line, but ran out of gear. We could hear it bouncing on the rev limiter before we crossed the trap, so that's interesting. Yeah, we didn't do that the first time, but I think it's because we rolled out real slow. So we have to look into that. It's rolling out. Got a little bit of a surge. We're running out of gear, running on the limiter at the end of the track, so I don't know. So I'd added 2 degrees to that last run, so we're actually at 14 degrees wide open. And it blew the tires off the line. I pedaled it out. I probably should have just let off and just backed up and tried again, but I pedaled it out and kept going. Ran 10.1 at a 138. Not too shabby, you know, as the car sits. No suspension tweaks or mods yet. So that's pretty good. The car's, you know, it's running out of gear. I can feel it when I'm riding the rev limiter at the end on the top end. So I bumped the RPM, the rev limiter up just a little bit. I'm gonna try it again. I think I'm gonna leave off the foot brake this next time so that it's not just blowing the tires off instantly. They said the prep on the track's real good, so it's pretty much just my car. So, all right, let's see what it does. What we get? Holy cow! A 9.9? Oh my goodness, 9.9 at 139 mile an hour. Wow, first outing in this car. Look at that. I can't believe it. We just got a 9. Well, that's a hell of a baseline to start off this car with. I was hoping to like have that as a goal to try get to 9s. Wow, this thing's a beast. Only 14 degrees of timing. I see some huge potential here. I'm excited. This is awesome. Hell yeah. All right, guys, it's been a hell of a night. We did a private track rental. It worked out great. We got to sit and play with the car between runs, go up whenever we wanted to. Love it. I can't believe it. For a first outing, we did a 9.9 at 138. 9.971 at 39.04. Wow, 60 foot was only a 1698, and it blew the tires off. I had to pedal it out, and we still ran a 9. I'm just blown away. That's amazing. I was not expecting this for a baseline on the car, just to sort of, you know, start working from. It makes me think that once we're not, you know, pedaling it out and launching properly, and we put some timing in the motor and everything, this could be an 8-second car. Wow. So yeah, looking over here at the logs, I see, what do we hit? 6,000. Oh, sorry, that car's loud. 6,891 RPM, if you can see that. So that bumping that rev limiter really helped. Only 14 degrees of spark, and it looks like we were peaking at 28.5 pounds of boost on the top end. So heck yeah. What a great night. So we'll be seeing more of this. What a good day at the track. I had a blast gathering data on this car and figuring things out. You know, we weren't out there to set any kind of records or get numbers and stuff, so to speak. We were gathering data on this car. We had it really hot and heat soaked right from the get-go. We were hot lapping it. No cool downs, no fans, no ice in the system, none of that. I was trying to simulate hot driving street conditions where I could actually hook and put the power down and really load everything up and see what it's doing. Not just the cooling and stuff on the engine, but the transmission, suspension. We kind of wanted to get a baseline on this car. And that was part of my excitement for how the car was running, because under those conditions and in the heat, you know, we were mid-90s, it was humid, it was hot, we were getting in the truck and the AC in between runs for a few minutes to try and cool down. And so I got really excited. I don't think they quite conveyed in the video what was going on with the conditions and the testing, but that's what it was. And so that made me really happy with how well this thing performed. So what was nice is we noticed a real consistency in the numbers on the temperatures and values on the engine on the runs. Right from the, right off the trailer, we're running, 10.3 with only 12 degrees timing in it. Pretty impressive. I added a couple degrees to it, and you saw we ran a 9.9 at 139. Not too bad. So the temperatures, intake air temps were starting at about 138 to 140 degrees at the start of every run. That's because it's heat soaked and hot. It would rise about 15 to 17 degrees on a run, so about 155, 157 intake air charge temp at the end. What's interesting is we noticed that the fluid temp in this tank, just like on the streets, had a direct one-to-one relationship with the intake air charge temp. The fluids were always around 105 degrees at the start of the run, 105, 107, somewhere around there. We'd take off, make our pass, and the fluid would come up right in relationship to that air intake charge. It would jump up to about 120, 122 degrees. So about the same 15, 17 degrees rise down the pass. Not the greatest, those temps could stay down and consistent and even go down on a pass if it had better fluid temperatures coming into it. This essentially just turns into a little boiler tank. It's so quick, the fluid turns over so fast in the system, the blower dumps all its heat in and it pulls it away, which is a good thing. It's, you're supposed to be pulling the heat away from the blower, but this fluid just superheats and then the intake air charge has to go up, in accordance with the fluid going up, because the fluid temps in your core directly control the intake air charge temp. And we've seen this on plenty of cars, that we made adjustments and changes, trunk tanks, the zinc, and I've literally tuned hundreds of these cars and looked at the logs for years on these, and that's kind of what happens. But nonetheless, I am not beyond learning or figuring out new things. I'm going to build a trunk tank for this car, we'll put it in there, and we'll leave the setup and pump and everything right here. We'll flip back and forth between them and gather the differences and see what happens. I think that'll be really interesting. So other interesting information I noted in the beginning of the video, pretty sure I was blowing through the converter, and that's exactly what I think we were doing. You saw I punched it flashed right to about almost 6,200 RPM. Not bad, except it just flashes almost to redline and it kind of holds there. If you listen to those videos, it sounds like a CVT transmission going down there. You can't even hear the gears changes. First to second dropped about 200 RPM. Second to third dropped about 300 RPM. Not much of anything. It's actually really difficult to drive. I punch it and the RPMs would just flash up there, and you're kind of like, this is probably a good spot to shift. You just kind of have to use your experience of driving the car. There's really no sort of telltale. You can't watch the tach. You can't hardly even listen to the engine when to shift. So it's kind of a funny scenario going on there, but I think we need to tighten up that converter, take care of that. Suspension, I had no expectations on it. It's what it is. We don't even know what suspension's in there. It looks like some kind of random coils that have been cut down to height. I'm assuming stock GT coil springs, since this is an SRA swapped car. I don't know. I just wanted a baseline. I wanted to see what it's doing, and we'll go from there. The other interesting thing, you saw the car just started stalling it actually started after that real violent launch that I totally messed it up. Too much RPM off the line. I didn't know what was going on. I got scared. I was like, did I hurt the motor? Did I blow something off? Did I foul the plugs? I couldn't find anything wrong. I popped the hood, I had a look. I was looking at the data on the logs. Everything looked good, so I just kept running it, I mean, what are you gonna do? Come to find out, the idle air control motor, the electrical connector popped off. So I lost all idle air control, and that's essentially all it was. It was as simple as that. So at certain conditions, when the computer wanted to give it a little bit of extra idle air, it couldn't, and it was stalling. Popped that back on, everything came back to life, and we were working. I didn't catch it until the next day, unfortunately, so it was a nightmare, loading on the trailer, stalling, and all that. But, we made it to where we got home. We officially have a 9-second ride. Hope you guys enjoyed this video to the track. We'll try to get some more track videos, maybe some better footage out there. I think there's a lot of opportunity to set some goals here. I definitely want to get this deep in the 9s. If we can hit a high 8, I'll be ecstatic. I mean, set your limits high, right? So let's go for it. So yeah, we're gonna dive in and keep working on this car, get things going, and let's see where it goes. Take care.